It's been 50 years since the Honda Civic made its debut and 25 years since they first used the Type R badge. And in 2022, to mark those milestones, Honda is building not only a brand new Civic, but also, hot on its heels, a brand new Civic Type R.
And here it is. Now, they're promising big things with this car. I'm talking more power, more driver involvement, more speed, more efficiency, and better technology. None of that we can judge right now because this is a pre-production prototype, but one thing they are promising, which we can judge, is a brand new design philosophy. Let's face it, the previous generation Civic looked like it was designed by a child. A very talented child with a bright future in automotive design, but a child. This thing looks like it was designed by grown-ups for grown-ups.
This car is based on the new standard Civic, which itself replaces the aggressive angles and countless fake vents of the previous generation with smoother, more understated surfaces, though you can expect many Type R specific parts, either aimed at improving performance or improving looks.
Right, let's talk about some of the key design features on this car. At the front, you've got a nice big split level intake which sucks cool air into the intercooler. On the bonnet, which is new for this car, you've got a slightly smaller slit at the top designed to help air escape from the turbos. New front bumper, very subtly different to the one on the standard car, makes it look slightly more aggressive. New LED headlights with a very distinctive signature, and on the outer edges of the front end, those might look like real air intakes. They're actually not, those are fake. The real vents for cooling the brakes actually live just down here. Obviously, allowing air into that wheel arch and not allowing it to escape is a bad idea, but Honda have thought of that because just behind the front wheel, there's a little vent which allows the air to escape and minimize the amount of turbulence in the wheel arch, just keeping that airflow attached as it moves along the side of the car. I do love these sills at the bottom as well. These look really cool, and they culminate in this delicate little spoiler at the back whose job it is just to deflect air around the rear tire. Honda have also said that their rear fender is designed in such a way to help smooth the airflow along the side of the car and to minimize the amount of aero noise, although I'll take their word for it. Now, onto my favorite bit by far, the big wing. Obviously, this can't be a proper Civic Type R without the big wing, and it is there, and it looks fantastic. A little bit less Halfords than the previous version, looks a little bit more contemporary. I really like the integration here, especially with these die-cast aluminium stays. Lovely touch. They won't say exactly how much downforce this produces as yet, but for reference, the previous generation car produced around 30 kilograms of downforce at 124 miles an hour, and I fully expect this to deliver a similar amount, and it will work in conjunction with this very aggressive looking diffuser down at the bottom, whose job it is to keep the car as glued as possible to the road surface. Plus, look at this for an exhaust. Triple, centrally mounted, it looks lush. Hopefully, it will sound good too.
Hardly spectacular, but that of course was with the soft limiter restricting revs to under 4,000 RPM while stationary. Inside, the Civic's interior has taken a big step forward. The first thing you notice is that this Type R, like the models that came before it, makes heavy use of red. It not only features these red seats and red door trim, but also bright red floors and mats. It's a brave piece of design, but shows Honda are still up for taking risks with the execution of old ideas.
I do like how the red and black matches my jumper as well. Totally accidental, but nice. Okay, first thing you notice when you jump aboard, it's got this very, very centrally mounted steering wheel. The driving position is very good. It's also wrapped in a suede-like material, which feels nice and grippy in the hands. The seats are also not leather. I think they're also finished in some kind of suede. What you notice about that is that it's also very grippy, which means you're not going to slide out of your seat as you're flying through corners. They have what Honda call a polyhedral design, which means they're very angular, and that has advantages in terms of the support they give you through the bends. If you look down here at the sides, you've got nice big side bolsters, and also up here for your shoulders, and that's going to keep you in place nicely. The dashboard, nice and simple, but also quite contemporary looking. I'm a big fan of these little joysticks which allow you to divert the air in any direction you choose. Also a big fan of the fact that Honda give you physical controls for your heating, ventilation and climate controls. Please keep doing it. It just makes it so much easier to keep the cabin cool or hot depending on what you want. In terms of the infotainment system, you got a new screen on top of the dashboard. I haven't used it extensively, but I will say the graphics aren't very high res. But having said that, it's all very simply laid out. Plus you get the usual stuff like Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, plus some physical buttons so you can quickly go back to the home menu or go back a step, plus a physical volume knob. Nice touch. As for the driver screen, well, that's new and it's all digital, and its looks vary depending on what mode you happen to be in at any given time. If you put it into comfort mode, it's blue and all very subtle. Put it into sport mode, it turns red, a bit more aggressive. Then you cycle up and go into individual mode. And this is interesting, brand new for the Type R, you can customize the drivetrain settings. So you can have the engine in one mode, your steering in another, your suspension and your engine sound and your rev matching and your gauges in different settings depending on what you want for any given drive. Finally, if you press the R button on the center console, it goes into the most extreme mode, and your driver display reflects that as well with a very, very pronounced rev counter, a nice big gear indicator, and also all the driver information you might need for your temperatures, etc., which might come in handy when you're pounding around the track. Interestingly, the gear indicator is larger than the speed indicator, which kind of shows the amount of importance Honda are putting on the transmission, which down here, as you can see, is a manual. It's got 3 pedals and a 6-speed manual gearbox. The previous generation car had one of the best gearboxes in the game. Now, Honda have said they've tweaked it ever so slightly in terms of the layout of the H pattern and the software in the rev matching. Hopefully they haven't messed it up. I can tell you that first, second feel good, third is good, fourth is nice. Can't really find fifth yet, but like I said, it's a pre-production car. Hopefully they haven't meddled with this too much, because that was one of the best things about this car. Now, in terms of powertrain, it's going to use the same 2-litre 4-cylinder engine that you got in the previous car, but Honda are saying it's going to make more power. How? Well, they've subtly changed the turbos, specifically the number of blades, the shape of the blades, and also the shape of the turbo housing. The previous car made 320 PS. Honda aren't saying exactly how much this will make, but they are saying it will make more. What does that mean for performance? Well, the old car did 0 to 62 in 5.7 seconds. This should be faster thanks to the extra power, but we don't know how fast it's going to be. Still, I'm not expecting miracles. It's a front-engined, front-wheel drive car, which means it's gonna struggle to put its power down, but 0 to 60s is not what this car's all about. This car is about handling.
And they've done a whole bunch to improve that. Honda is aiming to make the new Type R the fastest front-wheel drive car at the Nürburgring with the best power-to-weight ratio and the highest turning G-force. To execute that, they've made use of 265-width Michelin Pilot Sport 4S rubber as standard over new 19-inch wheels, dual-axis strut suspension with adaptive dampers, and a 16% increase in camber rigidity, not to mention a new, stiffer chassis.
So there it is. That is the brand new Honda Civic Type R. It's a little less wild to look at, but given Honda's track record in making these things, I have no doubt that this is very likely to go right to the top of the pile and become the benchmark in the hot hatch world. Fingers crossed anyway. Can't wait to drive it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.